Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Easy English Spark channel. I'm so excited to have you with us today. If you've ever wanted to level up your English listening and speaking skills, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into some fantastic tips and strategies to help you not only improve your fluency, but also build meaningful relationships through conversation. Whether you're looking to sound more natural, keep conversations flowing, or navigate real-life situations with ease, this chapter is for you. So let's spark up your English journey and get started. Chapter 1. Introduction to Casual Conversations. Small talk. It's something we all do, yet we don't often think about how important it is. But what exactly is small talk? In simple terms, small talk is a casual conversation where people exchange light, non-serious ideas. It's not a deep philosophical discussion, nor is it about sharing personal stories. It's just a friendly way to connect with people in everyday situations. Think about it. We use small talk to break the silence, make people feel comfortable, and create an easy connection. You probably use small talk more often than you realize. It can happen in many situations. When you meet someone for the first time, when you're in an elevator with a stranger, or when you're standing in line at a store. But why do we do it? Well, small talk helps to establish rapport. It's the social glue that makes our daily interactions smoother. It's a way of saying, "Hey, I see you, and I'm open to a friendly conversation," without making the other person feel awkward. It's a bridge between strangers, turning those initial uncomfortable silences into moments of connection. Imagine you're meeting someone for the first time. It could be at a party, in an office, or even while waiting for a train. What do you say? You probably won't dive into personal topics right away. Instead, you'll start with something simple, like, "Hi, how's it going?" Or, "Beautiful weather today, isn't it?" These simple, everyday phrases are part of small talk. They're easy, friendly, and approachable, and they help set the tone for the rest of the conversation. In fact, small talk is everywhere. You hear it in shops, cafes, and parks. You hear it on buses, and even while waiting at the grocery store. Take, for example, when you go to a coffee shop to order your drink. You might say to the barista, "Busy day for you?" Or comment, "Wow, it smells so good in here." These short, casual remarks are small talk. They may not lead to a deep conversation, but they create a friendly environment where both people feel comfortable. And that's the beauty of small talk. It helps us feel connected, even in brief moments. It's the type of conversation you can have with anyone, regardless. of whether you know them well or not. You don't need to overthink it, and there's no pressure to be perfect. Small talk is about being friendly, about opening the door for a conversation without the expectation that it will go anywhere beyond the initial exchange. At the same time, it's important to remember that small talk isn't just about words. It's about the connection behind those words. When we speak to someone with a smile or ask them a simple question, we are acknowledging their presence. That act of recognition makes the world feel a little less lonely. It's about acknowledging that we're all human, and a small exchange can brighten someone's day. And here's something important for those of us who are learning English. Small talk is a fantastic opportunity to practice. It doesn't require complicated grammar or long-winded explanations. It's simple and it's practical. Whether you're just starting out or trying to improve, small talk gives you quick, easy sentences to say aloud. You can practice your pronunciation, your fluency, and your confidence, all while keeping the conversation light and easy. But if you're new to small talk or if English isn't your first language, it might feel a little challenging at first. You might find yourself wondering, what should I say? Or, what if I make a mistake? You're not alone. Everyone feels like this when they start. Even native speakers sometimes struggle to find the right words, and that's okay. The key is not to worry too much about being perfect. Small talk isn't about perfect grammar. It's about communication. It's about making a connection, even if it's brief, even if there are mistakes along the way. And yes, mistakes will happen. That's normal. For instance, you might accidentally say, "How's weather today?" instead of, "How's the weather today?" It's not the end of the world. People will still understand you. The goal of small talk is not perfection, it's engagement. So don't be too hard on yourself. Practice makes progress, and every time you try, you get one step closer to becoming more fluent. So, take a deep breath and relax. Small talk doesn't need to be complicated or nerve-wracking. It's simply a way to break the ice, to make connections, and to practice your English. It's not about impressing others with perfect grammar. It's about making someone feel comfortable, showing interest, and being open to the world around you. By now, you should have a good understanding of why small talk is so important and why it's worth practicing. It's more than just exchanging words. It's about building relationships, connecting with others, and improving your speaking skills in the process. So, take the next step and start using small talk wherever you go. Whether you're in a cafe, a park, or even at a bus stop, every small conversation counts. And the more you practice, the easier it will get. Remember, Small talk is not just about the words you say. It's about making those words meaningful and engaging. It's about being friendly, being approachable, and starting a conversation that may lead to something even bigger. So, let's keep practicing, keep connecting, and most importantly, keep talking. Chapter 2. Starting your first casual conversation. Starting a conversation can feel intimidating, especially if you're not sure what to say or how to break the ice. But the good news is, starting a casual conversation doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. It's all about keeping things light, friendly, and simple. In this chapter, we're going to walk through some easy steps to help you start your first casual conversation with confidence. The power of a simple greeting. When it comes to starting any conversation, the simplest way is with a greeting. A greeting is the most basic form of communication, and it sets the tone for the conversation. You don't need to overthink it. Just smile and say something like, "Hi," or "Hello." These are universally accepted greetings that work in any situation. Whether you're meeting someone for the first time or just passing by someone in the hallway. If you want to make it a bit more personal, you can add a quick follow-up to your greeting. For example, you could say, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or, "Hello, how are you today?" This is a great way to open up the conversation without any pressure. It's a friendly way to show that you're interested in how the other person is doing. These simple questions don't require a lot of effort, and they're the perfect way to ease into a conversation. Ask about the environment or situation. Once you've exchanged greetings, it's a good idea to comment on the situation or the environment you're in. This could be something as simple as mentioning the weather, something happening around you, or an event you're both attending. For example, if you're standing outside on a sunny day, you might say, "Beautiful day, isn't it?" Or, "I can't believe how warm it is today." If you're waiting in line at the grocery store or a coffee shop, you could comment on how busy it is. "It's really crowded in here today, isn't it?" Or, "Wow, the line is so long." These kinds of comments are easy to make and can often lead to a natural back and forth conversation. Talking about the weather is a common go-to topic for small talk because it's something everyone experiences, no matter where they are. Even though it might seem cliché, mentioning the weather or the environment is a great way to start a conversation with someone you don't know well. It's an easy way to get the ball rolling and see if the other person is open to talking. Use open-ended questions. After breaking the ice with a greeting and a comment about your surroundings, The next step is to ask a question. But not just any question. You want to ask open-ended questions that allow the other person to share more about themselves. Open-ended questions are questions that can't be answered with just a simple yes or no. They encourage the other person to give a more thoughtful or detailed response, which makes the conversation flow more naturally. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" which could be answered with a simple yes or no, try asking, "What did you do this weekend?" or "How was your weekend?" This gives the other person an opportunity to talk about their experience, and it gives you something to respond to. Another example could be if you're at a coffee shop and you ask the barista, "How's your day going so far?" This is a simple question, but it invites the other person to share how their day is going. It's an easy way to show that you're interested in what they have to say. Be a good listener. Now that you've started the conversation, one of the most important parts is to be a good listener. Small talk isn't just about talking. It's about listening and responding to what the other person is saying. When you listen attentively, it shows that you care about the conversation and the person you're talking to. So, when the other person answers your question, make sure you're really paying attention. You can nod to show that you're listening and give a response that acknowledges their answer. For instance, if they say, "I spent the weekend hiking in the mountains," you could respond by saying, "That sounds amazing. What trail did you go on?" Or, "I love hiking too. How was the weather up there?" This shows that you're not just listening, but that you're also interested in continuing the conversation. If the person says something that you don't fully understand, don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions or ask for clarification. For example, "Oh, I've never heard of that place before. Where is it?" Or, "That sounds interesting. Can you tell me more about that?" 5. Compliment the other person. Another way to keep the conversation going is by giving a simple, sincere compliment. Compliments are a great way to make someone feel good and to show that you're paying attention to them. It doesn't need to be anything extravagant, just something small and genuine. For example, if you're talking to someone and you notice they're wearing something nice, you can say, "I love your jacket. Where did you get it?" Or, "That's such a cool watch. It really stands out." Compliments don't just have to be about appearance either. You can compliment someone on something they've done or something they've mentioned. For example, if they share that they're a great cook, you could say, "Wow, that's impressive. What's your favorite dish to make?" Complimenting. Someone makes the conversation feel warmer and more friendly. It helps to build a rapport and encourages the other person to open up more. Find common interests. Once you've started the conversation and asked a few questions, the next step is to look for common ground, something that both of you are interested in. Finding shared interests makes the conversation feel more natural and can help you connect on a deeper level. For example, if the person mentions that they enjoy a certain type of music or movie, you could share your thoughts on that too. Oh, you like jazz? I love it too. Have you heard that new album by artist? Or if they mention that they enjoy reading, you could ask, what kind of books do you like? If you have similar interests, the conversation can really take off and feel more engaging for both people. If their interests are different from yours, that's totally fine too. Showing curiosity about things you don't know much about is a great way to keep the conversation going. For instance, if they talk about a hobby or interest you don't understand, you could say, "That sounds cool. How did you get into it?" Or, "I've never tried that before. What's it like?" 7. Know when to keep it short. While it's important to keep the conversation going, it's also important to recognize when it's time to wrap things up. Sometimes a conversation may naturally come to an end, and that's okay. You don't have to keep talking if the conversation is slowing down, or if the other person seems disinterested. If you feel the conversation winding down, it's a good idea to end on a positive note. You could say something like, "It was really nice talking to you. Have a great rest of your day." Or, "I really enjoyed our chat. Hopefully, we can talk again soon." This leaves the conversation open-ended for future interactions, but also gives both of you a comfortable way to exit the conversation. Remember, small talk doesn't always have to last long. A quick chat can still be meaningful, and even if the conversation is brief, you've still made a connection with the person. Conclusion. Starting your first casual conversation may feel a bit daunting, but the key is to keep things simple, be friendly, and show interest in the other person. Whether it's a greeting, a comment about the environment, or asking open-ended questions, small talk is all about making connections. You don't need to have deep conversations or talk about anything complex. Just be genuine, listen carefully, and ask questions that invite the other person to share more. The more you practice, the easier it will become. So, next time you're in line at the store or sitting in a cafe, try starting a conversation with someone around you. It's a great opportunity to practice your English, improve your speaking skills, and build connections with others. And who knows? That small talk might just turn into a longer conversation and even a new friendship. By following these simple steps and remembering that it's all about keeping things light and friendly, you'll feel more confident starting your first casual conversation. Chapter 3: Small Talk. Everywhere. Small talk is not limited to a specific setting or situation. It can happen virtually anywhere. Whether you're at a coffee shop, on a bus, waiting in line, or even sitting in an elevator, opportunities for small talk are all around you. In this chapter, we're going to explore how small talk happens everywhere and how you can use it to practice your English and connect with people in everyday situations. Small talk at the coffee shop. One of the most common places where small talk happens is at a coffee shop. Picture this. You walk into your favorite cafe, and the barista greets you with a friendly, "Good morning. What can I get for you today?" You order your usual, but before you head off to your seat, there's a brief moment for a friendly exchange. This is where small talk can make the experience even more enjoyable. You might comment on how busy the shop is, saying, "Wow, it's really crowded today." Or, "Looks like everyone's coming in for their morning coffee, huh?" These simple remarks can help break the ice and make the interaction more comfortable. The barista might reply with something like, "Yeah, it's been nonstop this morning." Or, "It's that time of day for sure." These little exchanges are perfect examples of small talk. If you're sitting down with your coffee, you might strike up a conversation with someone sitting next to you. You could say, "I love the coffee here. Do you come here often?" Or, "What do you think of the new flavor they've got this month?" By commenting on the environment or sharing your own opinion, you open the door for the other person to respond and start a conversation. Small talk while waiting in line. Another situation where small talk often happens is when you're waiting in line, whether it's at the grocery store, the bank, or a ticket counter. Standing in line can sometimes feel a bit awkward because everyone is just waiting, usually in silence. But if you take the initiative to make a friendly comment, you can turn that waiting time into an opportunity to connect with someone. For example, if you're in a long line at the grocery store, you could say, "Wow, this line is moving so slowly, huh?" Or, "I didn't expect it to be this busy today." This simple observation can get the other person talking. They might respond with, "Yeah, it's been a crazy day," or, "I know, I almost didn't want to wait, but I had to grab a few things." Sometimes you might find yourself in a line with someone who seems like they're in a rush. In that case, you could try making a lighter comment, something like, "I'm always in a hurry when I come here. How about you?" This way, you can relate to the person and keep the conversation friendly and short. These moments might not lead to a long conversation, but they help pass the time and make the experience less uncomfortable. Small talk on public transportation. Public transportation is another prime spot for small talk. Whether you're on a bus, train, or subway, it's common to encounter strangers who are on their way to similar destinations. Even though people might be in a rush or looking at their phones, starting a small conversation can be a great way to pass the time and maybe even make someone's day. For example, if you're on a crowded bus, you could comment, "Looks like we're both on the same route today, huh?" Or, "I hope the bus doesn't take too long." These types of comments are non-intrusive and allow the other person to either join in or keep to themselves. If they respond positively, you could continue with something like, "I've been taking this bus for years. How about you?" Or, "Is this your regular route?" Even in quieter settings, like sitting next to someone on a train, small talk can be a great way to make the experience more pleasant. A simple remark about the weather outside could lead to an interesting exchange. "It's so sunny today, isn't it? Finally, some good weather." This comment doesn't require any effort, but it's enough to spark a brief conversation. Small talk at the doctor's office or waiting room. Doctor's offices, clinics, or any type of waiting room are places where small talk often happens too. While people are waiting for their appointments, it's common to make a comment about the wait time or something in the room. For example, you could say, "It seems like it's taking longer than usual today, huh?" Or, "I'm hoping my appointment is quick. It's been a busy day already." It's a great place to practice small talk because everyone is in the same situation. They're waiting. These comments help make the atmosphere a bit less tense. If the person in the waiting room responds, you could ask something like, "How's your day been so far?" Or, "Are you waiting for a checkup too?" This way, you're not only engaging in small talk, but also showing interest in their experience. 5. Small talk in the elevator. One place where small talk is almost unavoidable is the elevator. We've all been there, waiting for the elevator doors to open, standing next to a stranger, and wondering whether to say something or not. While it might feel awkward at first, the elevator is actually one of the best places to practice small talk. The conversation doesn't need to be long. Just a few words can make the moment more comfortable. You might start by commenting on the speed of the elevator. "Wow, this elevator is quick today." Or, "It's always so slow at this time of day." If you're in an office building, you could say, "Busy day ahead," or "Going to work." These short comments help fill the silence, and the other person is likely to respond with something like, "Yeah, lots of meetings today," or "I'm just getting started with my day." It's important to remember that small talk in an elevator doesn't need to be a lengthy conversation. It's more about being friendly and acknowledging the other person's presence. A simple, "Have a good day," as you exit is a nice, polite way to end the interaction. Small talk in a park or outdoor spaces. Public parks and outdoor spaces are great places for small talk, especially if the weather is nice and there are more people out enjoying the day. Whether you're walking your dog or sitting on a park bench, there are plenty of chances to engage in a short conversation. If you see someone with a dog, you could say, "Your dog is so cute. What's its name?" People love talking about their pets, so this question often leads to a pleasant exchange. If you're walking past someone who's jogging or doing yoga, you might say, "You're really fast. How long have you been running?" Or, "That looks like a good workout. How often do you come here?" In a park, you can also make observations about your surroundings. "It's such a beautiful day to be outside, isn't it?" Or, "I love how green the park is here. They really take care of it." These comments are easy to make and can help you connect with someone who shares the same appreciation for the outdoors. Small talk at work. Workplaces are another place where small talk is essential. It's a great way to bond with colleagues, especially when you don't know them very well. Small talk in the office can be as simple as greeting someone in the morning. "Good morning. How's everything going today?" Or, "How was your weekend?" These questions are a great way to show interest in your coworkers' lives, and they can often lead to further conversation. If you're on a lunch break or in the break room, you might comment on the food. "What's for lunch today? That smells great." Or, "Have you tried that new restaurant down the street?" Small talk during lunch or coffee breaks can be a great way to build relationships with colleagues and make your workday a little more enjoyable. Small talk at a party or social event. Finally, parties or social events are places where small talk is almost expected. At a party, you may meet someone for the first time, and it's the perfect time to engage in casual conversation. You could start with a friendly introduction. "Hi, I'm Selena. What's your name?" Or, "Nice to meet you. How do you know the host?" From there, you can ask simple questions to keep the conversation going. "How's your night going so far?" Or, "Have you tried the food? It's really good." You can also comment on the music or atmosphere. "I love the music they're playing. Are you a fan of this band?" Conclusion. As you can see, small talk happens everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in a coffee shop, on public transportation, at work, or even in a park. there are always opportunities for casual conversations. By simply observing your surroundings and asking open-ended questions, you can easily strike up a conversation with someone, practice your English, and make connections with the people around you. Remember, small talk doesn't have to be complicated. Whether you're commenting on the weather, asking about someone's day, or complimenting their dog, these simple exchanges are an excellent way to engage with others. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become in using small talk in any situation. So, keep your eyes open for the next opportunity, and go ahead and make that connection. Chapter 4. Why Small Talk Matters. Small talk may seem like an insignificant part of our daily interactions, but in reality it plays a much bigger role than we often give it credit for. While small talk might seem trivial at first, it's a powerful tool for building connections, creating a comfortable social environment, and even improving our language skills. In this chapter, we're going to explore why small talk matters and how it benefits both you and the people you interact with. Building connections. The most important reason why small talk matters is that it helps us build connections with others. Human beings are social creatures, and we thrive on interaction. Small talk acts as a bridge that allows us to establish rapport with people, whether we know them well or not. When you engage in small talk, you're opening the door to communication and creating a bond, even if it's only temporary. Imagine meeting someone for the first time. You don't start by discussing your life story, but instead, you ask simple questions like, "How's your day going?" or "What do you think of the weather today?" These light exchanges may seem casual, but they set the foundation for a positive connection. Small talk doesn't always lead to deep relationships, but it lays the groundwork for future interactions. The more we practice small talk, the better we become at navigating different social situations and making others feel at ease. Making people feel comfortable. One of the greatest benefits of small talk is that it helps put people at ease. Whether you're at a party, in an elevator, or standing in line, small talk can break the ice and ease any awkwardness. It's like saying, "Hey, I'm approachable, and I'm open to a friendly conversation." This creates a welcoming atmosphere, making others feel comfortable and accepted. For example, think about the last time you were in a room full of strangers. It can feel intimidating and uncomfortable at first. But when someone says something like, "I hope this rain stops soon," or "It's nice to finally meet someone new," it can instantly change the mood. That simple comment lets everyone know that it's okay to talk and it's okay to be friendly. It opens the door for more social interactions, and everyone feels a little less isolated. Small talk helps break down social barriers and creates a relaxed, friendly environment. It gives everyone a chance to connect, whether it's with a coworker, a neighbor, or even a stranger. It's the social glue that makes everyday interactions feel smoother and more enjoyable. Building confidence. Small talk isn't just a great way to connect with others. It's also an excellent opportunity to build your own confidence, especially when learning a new language. For English learners, practicing small talk is an invaluable way to improve speaking skills and overcome any fears about speaking. When you engage in small talk, you get to practice speaking English in a real-life context, where the pressure isn't as high as in more formal situations. You don't need to worry about using perfect grammar or vocabulary. Instead, you can focus on expressing yourself clearly and confidently. This kind of practice is essential for developing fluency because it helps you get used to speaking without overthinking every word. Small talk allows you to experiment with new vocabulary, phrases, and expressions. You'll learn how to ask and answer questions, offer compliments, and make simple comments in a casual setting. As you practice these interactions, you'll notice your confidence growing, and you'll feel more comfortable using English in a variety of situations. Creating positive social interactions. Small talk is the foundation of many positive social interactions. Whether you're talking to a coworker, a neighbor, or a stranger in a coffee shop, engaging in friendly conversation can create a pleasant atmosphere and encourage more open, meaningful communication. When people are comfortable with you, they are more likely to engage in deeper conversations and even build lasting relationships. For instance, if you're at work and you have a quick chat with a colleague about their weekend, that small interaction could lead to a deeper connection. Perhaps you both enjoy similar activities or have common interests that you can explore in future conversations. Small talk often acts as the starting point for building trust and familiarity. Even though small talk may seem light and surface level, it has the power to create lasting impressions. A simple compliment or a friendly comment can brighten someone's day, and that positive energy can extend into future interactions. 5. Improving your listening skills. Small talk is not just about speaking, it's also about listening. When you engage in casual conversations, you have to pay attention to what the other person is saying. Listening is a crucial skill in any conversation, and small talk helps you develop this skill. It's not just about hearing words. It's about understanding what the other person is saying and responding thoughtfully. For example, if someone mentions that they had a busy weekend, you might follow up with a question like, "What did you do that kept you so busy?" Or, "Sounds like you had a lot going on. How did you manage to get everything done?" These questions show that you're listening to the other person and that you care about their response. As you engage in small talk more frequently, you'll become better at listening and responding appropriately. This improves your overall communication skills and helps you engage with people in a more meaningful way. By practicing small talk, you not only become more comfortable with speaking, but you also develop your ability to listen actively, which is a key part of any successful conversation. Connecting with people from different backgrounds. Small talk is a universal tool that works across different cultures and social contexts. Whether you're at a party, in a business meeting, or on public transportation, small talk allows you to connect with people from all walks of life. The beauty of small talk is that it's simple enough to transcend differences in language, culture, and background. For example, if you're traveling to a new country or city, small talk can help you interact with locals in a friendly, non-threatening way. Complimenting someone's outfit, commenting on the weather, or asking about their day can create a sense of shared understanding and break down any barriers that might exist between you and the other person. Small talk allows you to engage with people from diverse backgrounds, which helps you understand different perspectives and ways of life. It's a way to broaden your social horizons and build connections that might not have happened otherwise. Creating opportunities for deeper conversations. While small talk is often light and casual, it can also serve as a gateway to deeper conversations. Think of it as the first step in building a relationship. Once you've broken the ice and made the other person feel comfortable, small talk can naturally evolve into more meaningful discussions. For example, if you've been talking to someone about the weather, you might eventually shift the topic to a more personal subject, like travel. You could say, "I've been wanting to visit destination for years. Have you been there?" This shift from small talk to a more personal conversation can create opportunities for you to learn more about the person and build a stronger connection. Small talk doesn't have to stay surface level. It's simply a starting point. Once you've established rapport and comfort with someone, you can dive into deeper topics that matter to both of you. Making the world a friendlier place. At the end of the day, small talk helps make the world a friendlier, more welcoming place. When people take the time to engage in casual conversation, They create a sense of community and openness. These brief exchanges may seem minor, but they have a ripple effect that spreads positive energy to everyone involved. Think about it. When someone greets you with a smile and a simple, "How's it going?" or comments on something you're both experiencing, it creates a moment of connection. Even if it's just for a few seconds, it can make you feel good and help you feel less isolated. The more people engage in small talk, the more we create an environment where communication and kindness are valued. These small moments of connection are essential for building strong, supportive communities, whether in our neighborhoods, workplaces, or broader social circles. Conclusion: small talk may seem simple and easy, but it plays a vital role in our social lives. It helps us build connections, create positive social interactions, and improve our communication skills. Small talk builds bridges between people, making the world feel a little less lonely. It gives us a chance to practice our language skills and connect with people from all walks of life. It's an essential tool for building confidence, fostering relationships, and creating opportunities for deeper conversations. So, next time you find yourself in a situation where small talk is possible, don't hesitate. Start with a simple greeting or a friendly comment about your surroundings. You never know where that conversation might lead, and in the process, you'll be improving your English and making the world a little friendlier at the same time. Chapter 5: Overcoming Shyness and Mistakes. Let's be honest, starting a conversation with someone new, especially in a language that's not your first, can feel intimidating. The fear of making mistakes, not knowing what to say, or worrying about how you might be perceived can create a huge barrier to connecting with others. But here's the good news. Shyness and mistakes are completely normal parts of the process. In this chapter, we'll discuss how to overcome shyness, deal with mistakes, and gain the confidence to engage in small talk without fear. Understanding shyness and why it happens. First, let's talk about shyness. Feeling shy in social situations is something almost everyone experiences at some point. It's a natural human emotion, and it's perfectly okay. Shyness is simply a response to uncertainty or fear of judgment. When you meet new people, especially in unfamiliar situations, it's common to feel nervous about how others will perceive you. In the context of learning a new language, shyness can become even more pronounced. You might worry that you won't speak correctly or that your accent will be noticeable. These thoughts can lead to a reluctance to speak at all, which, ironically, only makes the situation worse. The longer you stay quiet, the more anxious you become about speaking. But here's the key to overcoming shyness. Take small steps. Start by acknowledging that everyone feels this way at times, even native speakers. When you realize that your feelings of shyness are completely normal, it becomes easier to push through them. Start small. Build confidence. Gradually. You don't need to have a full-fledged conversation with a stranger right away. Overcoming shyness starts with small, simple interactions. The more you practice these, the easier they become. Try starting with short comments or greetings in familiar places. When you see a neighbor, a barista, or even someone on the bus. Start with something casual like, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or, "It's really sunny today, isn't it?" At first, these interactions might feel awkward, but remember, they don't have to be perfect. The goal is to simply get used to speaking up, even in small ways. Gradually, you'll find that speaking to people becomes easier and less intimidating. If you're still feeling a bit shy, you can practice small talk with people you already know. This could be friends, family, or coworkers. Since you're already familiar with them, it's less stressful to start a conversation. Talk about simple things like how their day was, a recent event, or a compliment on something they're wearing. Practice, even in familiar situations, will help you build the confidence you need to speak with strangers. Let go of perfection. Mistakes are part of the process. One of the biggest reasons people feel shy or hesitant to speak is the fear of making mistakes. And it's not just beginners who feel this way. Even advanced speakers sometimes worry about using the wrong word or making a grammatical error. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of learning. They are not something to be ashamed of. They're a sign that you're trying and improving. Think about it this way. Nobody speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers. You might hear a native speaker say something like, "I've been to the store yesterday," instead of, "I went to the store yesterday." These kinds of mistakes happen to everyone, and they're usually not a big deal. The goal of small talk is not to demonstrate perfect grammar. It's to communicate and connect with the other person. So, how do you overcome the fear of making mistakes? Shift your focus from perfection to communication. Instead of worrying about using the right words or the correct grammar, focus on making your point and engaging with the person you're speaking to. Even if you make a small mistake, the other person will understand your meaning. And often, they won't even notice the mistake. What they'll notice is your effort to connect. 4. Be kind to yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. When you do make mistakes, be kind to yourself. It's easy to get frustrated or embarrassed, especially when you're learning a language. But remember, every mistake is a lesson. Each time you try, you're building your confidence and improving your skills. One way to be kind to yourself is to laugh at your mistakes. If you say something wrong, don't beat yourself up about it. Instead, smile and correct it gently. For example, if you say, "How's weather today?" instead of, "How's the weather today?" you can say, "Oops, I meant, how's the weather today?" and laugh it off. This approach makes the situation lighter and shows the other person that you're not afraid to make mistakes. It actually helps break the ice and makes you seem more relatable. Additionally, try not to compare yourself to others. If you're learning English, there will always be someone who speaks better or has a wider vocabulary. But that doesn't mean you're any less capable. Focus on your own progress and celebrate the small victories. Every time you speak, you're moving closer to fluency. And that's what really matters. Use mistakes as learning opportunities. Instead of fearing mistakes, see them as learning opportunities. If you make a mistake, try to understand why it happened. Was it a pronunciation issue? Did you use the wrong tense? Once you identify the mistake, you can take steps to avoid it in the future. This is the beauty of language learning. It's an ongoing process, and each mistake is a chance to improve. For instance, let's say you're talking to someone and accidentally use the wrong word. Afterward, take a moment to think about what you said and why it might not have been correct. Look up the right word or ask a friend or teacher for clarification. This will help you avoid making the same mistake again and increase your confidence in using the language. It's also helpful to keep a mistakes journal where you write down the errors you make and note how to correct them. Over time, this journal will show you how much you've improved and how much more confident you've become in your language abilities. Practice with others who understand. If you're feeling nervous about making mistakes, practice with people who understand that you're still learning. It could be a friend, a family member, or even a language partner. When you're talking to someone who is supportive and patient, it takes away some of the pressure to be perfect. Language exchanges are a great way to practice too. In a language exchange, both people help each other practice their respective languages. You might help someone practice your native language while they help you with English. This creates a comfortable, non-judgmental space where both people can make mistakes and learn together. By practicing with others who understand the process of language learning, you'll be able to gain more confidence and improve more quickly. 7. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Every step forward is a step in the right direction, So it's important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. If you have a small conversation in English, that's an accomplishment. If you make it through a meeting, or even a simple chat with a stranger, you're gaining experience and confidence. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become with starting conversations. Soon, you'll find that your shyness starts to fade, and making mistakes becomes less of a big deal. You'll learn to embrace these moments as opportunities to improve, and you'll feel more at ease in social situations. Remember, small talk is about connection, not perfection. It's not about getting every word right or speaking flawlessly. It's about engaging with others, learning from the experience, and building relationships. Every conversation you have, even the briefest ones, helps you grow. The power of persistence. Overcoming shyness and the fear of mistakes takes time. It's not something that happens overnight, but with persistence, you'll start to notice changes in how you approach conversations. Each time you step outside your comfort zone, whether it's speaking to a barista or introducing yourself at a party, you're growing. Don't expect perfection right away. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. The key is to keep going. Keep practicing. Keep making mistakes, and keep celebrating your progress. As you continue to put yourself out there and speak more, your confidence will build naturally, and shyness will have less control over your actions. Conclusion. Shyness and mistakes are natural parts of the learning process, and they don't need to hold you back. By taking small steps, being kind to yourself, and focusing on communication rather than perfection, you can overcome these obstacles and feel more confident in your conversations. Remember, making mistakes isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace as part of your journey. Every attempt to speak, every time you push through your shyness, is progress. So, take a deep breath, speak up, and let small talk become a tool for both language learning and personal growth. Chapter 6. Handling Real-Life Conversations. One of the most important aspects of improving your English is applying what you've learned to real-life situations. While studying vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in a classroom or through books is essential, it's the real-life conversations that help you develop true fluency. In this chapter, we'll explore how to handle real-life conversations with ease, manage various social scenarios, and build your confidence through everyday interactions. The power of everyday conversations. Real-life conversations are where you can truly practice your English skills and make them come alive. You might feel that your English is only strong in theory when you're sitting in class, but when you're actually speaking with someone, everything changes. It's normal to feel a bit nervous or unsure at first, but remember that these everyday conversations are the best opportunities to practice, learn, and grow. Real-life conversations can be as simple as saying hi to someone in a coffee, shop, asking for directions, or talking to a colleague about how their day is going. The great thing about real-life conversations is that they often focus on light topics, so you don't need to worry too much about using perfect grammar or vocabulary. The goal is communication and connection, not perfection. And through these exchanges, you'll gain confidence and feel more comfortable speaking English. Starting conversations in different settings. Real-life conversations can happen in many different settings, each with its own set of social expectations. Let's take a look at how to start conversations in various places and situations, at a coffee shop or cafe. When you're at a cafe, small talk is usually very easy to start. You might be interacting with the barista, ordering your coffee, or chatting with someone sitting nearby. If you want to start a conversation, you could ask something about the cafe, such as, "Do you have any new pastries today?" Or, "How's your day going so far?" These are friendly, simple questions that show you're open to conversation. If you're ordering food or a drink, you might add something like, "I've heard great things about this place. What do you recommend?" Or even compliment the cafe by saying, "This place always smells amazing. How do you keep it smelling so good?" People love to talk about their work or favorite parts of their job, so these types of questions can open up a conversation naturally. At work, workplaces are also full of conversation opportunities. Whether you're talking to a coworker you see every day or meeting someone new, starting a conversation in the office can be as simple as saying, "Good morning. How's your day going so far?" Or, "Did you have a nice weekend?" Asking about projects or work-related topics is another way to start a conversation. For instance, you could ask, "How's that project you've been working on going?" Or, "I saw you were in a meeting earlier. How did it go?" These types of questions are professional and show interest in your coworker's work, which can help build a positive relationship. If you're in the break room or during lunch, you might ask, "What are you having for lunch today?" Or, "Do you have any favorite places to grab lunch around here?" This is a great way to start casual conversations and bond over food, which is a common topic of interest in work environments. On public transportation. Public transportation is another great setting for small talk. Whether you're on a bus, train, or subway, it's a chance to chat with someone who might be traveling to a similar destination. A simple comment like, "It's so crowded today," or "This bus is taking longer than usual, don't you think?" is a good way to break the ice with someone nearby. If the person responds positively, you could follow up with more questions like, "Do you take this route every day?" Or, "Where are you headed?" Small talk on public transportation doesn't have to be long or deep, but it's a great way to practice making connections with people in everyday situations, in social settings. At parties, social events, or gatherings, starting a conversation with someone new can feel challenging, especially if you're shy. But remember, small talk is the best way to ease into a conversation. If you're meeting someone for the first time, try starting with, "Hi, I'm Selena. How do you know the host?" Or, "Nice to meet you. How's your evening been so far?" From there, you can look for common ground. If you're at a birthday party, you might say, "Wow, the decorations are really nice. Did you help set them up?" Or if you're at a wedding, you could ask, "The bride looks stunning, doesn't she? Do you know her well?" These kinds of questions are friendly and related to the event, so they make the conversation flow more easily. 3. Keeping the conversation flowing. Starting a conversation is just the beginning. The key to successful small talk is keeping the conversation going. Here are some techniques to help you do that. Ask follow-up questions. When someone answers your question, listen carefully and then ask follow-up questions to keep the conversation moving. If they say, "I had a great weekend hiking in the mountains," you could ask, "That sounds fun. Where did you go hiking?" Or, "How long was the hike? Was it difficult?" Follow-up questions show that you're engaged in the conversation and interested in what the other person has to say. They also help to keep the conversation from stalling. Give compliments and show interest. Compliments are a great way to keep the conversation going. They make the other person feel good and open up further. For example, if you're talking to someone at a coffee shop and they're wearing a nice shirt, you might say, "I love that color. Where did you get it?" Or if they mention an interesting hobby, you could say, "That's awesome. How did you get into that?" Showing genuine interest in someone's hobbies, interests, or work can encourage them to share more, which keeps the conversation flowing. The more you show that you care about what they're saying, the more they'll feel comfortable sharing with you. Share your own experiences. Small talk is a two-way street. Don't be afraid to share a little bit about yourself in the conversation. If the person talks about a trip they took, you might share your own travel experiences. If they mention something about their job, you could say, I had a similar experience at my job. I used to handle tasks, but now I focus on different. I'd ask. The key is to keep your responses brief and relevant. Small talk isn't about telling long stories or sharing every detail of your life. It's about exchanging simple ideas and building a connection. Navigating awkward silences. Any conversation, there will be moments of silence. These pauses can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're still getting to know the other person. But don't worry. Awkward silences happen to everyone, and they're a natural part of conversation. The key to handling these moments is not to panic. Instead, use the silence as an opportunity to ask a new question or introduce a new topic. You could say, "So, have you seen any good movies lately?" Or, "What do you like to do in your free time?" These simple questions can help steer the conversation in a new direction. Another trick is to talk about something in your environment. For example, "I noticed they have some great art on the walls here." Or, "Isn't the weather beautiful today?" This can help restart the conversation and bring you back to a more comfortable flow. Ending the conversation politely. Knowing how to end a conversation is just as important as starting one. It's essential to leave the conversation on a positive note so the other person doesn't feel awkward or uncomfortable. A polite and friendly way to end a conversation could be as simple as, "It was really nice talking to you. I hope we can chat again soon." Or, "Well, I should get going. Have a great rest of your day." If you've been talking about an event or something specific, you can wrap it up with something related. "It was great hearing about your trip to Paris. Maybe we can talk more about it another time." Or, "I really enjoyed our conversation about hiking. I'll have to try those trails sometime." Always offer a warm smile or handshake, and if appropriate, make plans for a follow-up, like, "Let's grab coffee sometime," or, "It was great meeting you. Hopefully, we'll see each other again soon." 6. Handling conversations in different languages or accents. As you practice small talk in English, you might come across people who have different accents or speak a different language. Don't let this intimidate you. If you don't understand something, it's okay to ask for clarification. You could say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "I didn't quite catch that. What did you say?" If you're speaking with someone who is learning English, be patient and offer help if needed. Small talk is about building connections, and showing patience and understanding will make the conversation smoother for both of you. Conclusion. Real-life conversations are where you'll truly develop your English skills. Whether you're talking to a stranger at a coffee shop, chatting with a coworker, or attending a social event, these interactions are the best way to practice and build confidence. Remember, the key to handling real-life conversations is to keep things simple, be polite, and be genuinely interested in the other person. Over time, as you gain more experience, you'll find that starting and maintaining conversations becomes easier, and you'll feel more confident using English in any situation. So get out there, start talking, and make the most of every conversation. Chapter 7. How to keep the conversation going. Once you've started a conversation, the next challenge is keeping it going. In many situations, especially when meeting someone new, the flow of conversation can easily stall. You might find yourself wondering, what do I say next? Or feeling awkward when there's a pause. But don't worry. Keeping the conversation going doesn't have to be difficult. In this chapter, we'll explore practical strategies to help you keep the conversation lively, interesting, and engaging, ensuring that it continues to flow naturally. Ask open-ended questions. One of the best ways to keep a conversation going is to ask open-ended questions. These are questions that can't be answered with just a yes or no. They require the other person to elaborate and share more about themselves. This type of question is essential for keeping the conversation flowing because it opens the door to more discussion. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" you can ask, "What did you do this weekend?" Or, "How was your weekend? Did you go anywhere fun?" The first question can be answered with a simple yes or no, but the second question invites them to share more about their experience, which can lead to further questions or topics. You can use open-ended questions to explore a wide range of topics, like hobbies, travel, work, or personal interests. For instance, you can ask, "What kind of music do you like?" Or, "How did you get into hobby?" These questions show genuine interest and give the other person the chance to talk more, which naturally keeps the conversation going. Follow up on their responses. Once the other person has shared something, be sure to follow up on their response. People love when they feel heard and understood, so by showing interest in what they've said, you encourage them to elaborate and keep talking. Let's say they tell you they've been traveling a lot. Instead of simply saying, "That's nice," you can ask, "Where did you go? What was your favorite part of the trip?" Or if they mention their favorite book, ask, "What did you like most about it? What's the plot about?" By following up with thoughtful questions or comments related to what they've just shared, you're encouraging them to open up more and the conversation can continue naturally. This also shows that you're truly interested in getting to know them better. Share your own experiences. While it's important to listen and ask questions, you also need to contribute to the conversation by sharing your own experiences. Conversations are a two-way street, and people enjoy hearing your thoughts, stories, and ideas as much as you enjoy hearing theirs. If the other person shares something about their weekend trip, for example, you might respond by saying, "That sounds awesome. I went hiking last weekend and it was so refreshing. Have you ever hiked up local mountain?" By sharing your own experience, you're showing that you're engaged in the conversation and helping to keep it balanced. When you share your experiences, make sure to keep it relevant to the topic at hand and avoid dominating the conversation. Aim to share brief anecdotes that add to the flow without turning the conversation into a monologue. This way, the other person feels included and is encouraged to continue sharing their own thoughts. Use active listening. Active listening is a powerful tool for keeping a conversation going. It's not just about hearing the words the other person is saying, but truly engaging with them. Active listening involves nodding, making eye contact, and offering short verbal cues like, "I see," "That's interesting," or "Tell me more." When you actively listen, the other person knows you're paying attention, which encourages them to speak more. It also helps you pick up on details that might lead to further questions or comments. For instance, if someone mentions they've been working on a new project, you can ask, "What's the project about?" Or, "How's it going so far?" Active listening helps you stay engaged in the conversation and prevents awkward silences, because you'll always have something to respond to or ask about based on what the other person says. 5. Make observations about your environment. If the conversation starts to stall, don't be afraid to make observations about your surroundings. Whether you're sitting in a cafe, walking through a park, or even just in a waiting room, the environment offers a wealth of conversation starters. For example, in a cafe, you could comment on the music playing. "I love this song. Do you listen to this band often?" Or if you're at a park, you could say, "It's such a beautiful day. Do you like spending time outside?" These simple observations not only keep the conversation going, but they can also lead to new topics, such as music preferences or outdoor activities. You don't have to focus only on the immediate environment, though. You can also comment on more general things, like current events, pop culture, or upcoming holidays. For example, "Have you heard about the new movie coming out next week?" Or, "I'm really looking forward to the weekend. Do you have any plans?" 6. Give compliments and encouragement. Compliments are another effective way to keep a conversation going. People enjoy receiving positive feedback, and a well-placed compliment can make the other person feel more comfortable and open. When you compliment someone, you're not just flattering them. You're also opening the door to more conversation. For example, if someone shares a personal achievement, like finishing a big project at work, you could say, "That's awesome. It must have taken a lot of work. How did you manage to get it all done?" Complimenting their efforts or skills will encourage them to share more details and keep the conversation flowing. Compliments can also be about someone's appearance. Like, "I love your jacket. It's such a great color." Or, "You have a great sense of style." These compliments show that you notice and appreciate them, which can make the conversation feel more engaging. Handle awkward pauses gracefully. Awkward silences are a natural part of any conversation, and they can happen to anyone, no matter how experienced they are. The key is not to let them stop the conversation completely. If you notice a pause, try to fill it with a light comment or question that leads to a new topic. One way to handle an awkward pause is by asking a question that can spark further conversation. For example, if there's a lull in the discussion, you could say, "I've been meaning to try a new restaurant or activity. Have you been? What do you think of it?" Or if you're at a party and there's a quiet moment, you could ask, "How do you know the host? Have you been friends for a long time?" Another approach is to laugh it off. A light-hearted comment like, "It's always tricky to think of what to say next, isn't it?" can ease the tension and help you transition to a new topic. Remember, everyone experiences awkward pauses from time to time. The important thing is not to let them throw you off. Embrace them. Use them as an opportunity to think of something new to say and keep the conversation going. Don't be afraid to change the topic. If you feel the conversation isn't going anywhere or the topic is running dry, don't be afraid to gently steer it in a new direction. A natural way to change the topic is to reference something from earlier in the conversation, or even something that's happening around you. For example, if the conversation about movies has slowed down, you might say, "By the way, I've been meaning to ask, have you ever traveled abroad? I'd love to hear about your experiences." Or if the conversation about work has come to a standstill, you can switch gears with something like, "I've been trying to learn a new skill lately. Do you enjoy learning new things in your free time?" Changing the topic doesn't have to be abrupt or awkward. It's about transitioning smoothly and showing interest in what the other person enjoys discussing. By introducing a new topic, you're creating fresh opportunities for the conversation to continue. know when to wrap things up. While it's important to keep a conversation going, it's also essential to know when it's time to end. Ending a conversation on a positive note is just as important as keeping it going. Pay attention to cues from the other person. If they seem less engaged, are giving short responses, or seem to be in a hurry, it might be a sign that the conversation is naturally coming to an end. You can wrap up the conversation politely by saying something like, "It was really great talking to you. I hope we can chat again soon." Or if you're leaving an event, you might say, "I really enjoyed our conversation. It's been nice getting to know you." A graceful exit leaves a positive impression and leaves the door open for future conversations. Conclusion. Keeping a conversation going can feel like a challenge at times, but with the right strategies, you can make it a natural and enjoyable experience. By asking open-ended questions, actively listening, making observations about your environment, and sharing your own experiences, you'll keep the conversation lively and engaging. And if there are moments of awkward silence or the conversation starts to stall, don't worry. Just follow up with thoughtful comments or change the topic to something new. Remember, conversations are about connection, not perfection. By focusing on building a rapport with the other person and showing genuine interest in what they have to say, you'll not only keep the conversation going, but also form meaningful relationships along the way. So next time you're in a conversation, use these tips and keep the flow going. You'll feel more confident and enjoy the exchange even more. Chapter 8. Small Talk in Different Cultures. Small talk is a universal way of connecting with others, but the way it's approached can vary greatly depending on where you are in the world. Each culture has its own set of social norms, expectations, and traditions when it comes to casual conversations. Understanding how small talk works in different cultures can not only help you navigate social situations more comfortably, but also give you a deeper understanding of diverse ways of communication. In this chapter, we will explore how small talk differs across cultures and how being mindful of cultural nuances can enhance your conversations and relationships. The role of small talk across cultures. Small talk serves a similar purpose in every culture: to build rapport, ease tensions, and open the door to further communication. However, the way small talk is used, its frequency, and the topics that are appropriate can vary significantly. In some cultures, small talk is seen as an essential social skill. It's often a way to break the ice and establish trust. In other cultures, small talk might be less frequent and more formal, with people focusing more on direct communication rather than engaging in casual chit-chat. For example, in many Western cultures, small talk is a key part of social interactions, whether you're meeting someone for the first time or catching up with friends. It's common to exchange pleasantries about the weather, work, or family before diving into deeper topics. In contrast, in some Asian cultures, small talk is less common. People may prefer to get straight to the point or have deeper conversations, especially in formal settings. Small talk in the United States and Canada. In the United States and Canada, small talk is a significant part of everyday life. It is used not only to make people feel more comfortable, but also as a way to show friendliness and openness. Whether you're at the grocery store, waiting in line, or meeting a colleague, you'll often hear people making light comments about the weather, asking about your plans for the weekend, or commenting on your attire. For instance, a typical exchange in a U.S. coffee shop might go something like this. Hi, how's your day going? Good, thanks. It's a beautiful day outside, isn't it? Yeah, finally some sunshine. Have any big plans for the weekend? This type of small talk helps create a casual and friendly atmosphere. Americans generally value friendliness, and engaging in small talk is a way to connect with strangers or acquaintances without getting too personal. Even in professional settings, you'll often hear small talk before getting into business discussions, which is seen as a way to build rapport and ease into the conversation. However, while small talk is common in these countries, it's not always expected to be deeply personal. It's often about being polite and friendly rather than sharing intimate details about one's life. It's essential to keep the conversation light and avoid topics that might be too controversial or personal early on, such as politics or religion. Small talk in the United Kingdom. In the UK, small talk is also common, but the style tends to be a bit more reserved compared to the United States. British people are known for their politeness and often use small talk as a way to fill silences and maintain civility in social interactions. While it's common to talk about the weather, the British take it a step further by using it as a way to subtly acknowledge the mood of the group or the situation. For example, a typical British conversation at the bus stop might go, "Lovely day today, isn't it?" "Definitely. It's been so rainy lately, so this is a welcome change." "Yeah, I think it's supposed to stay sunny for the rest of the week." In the UK, small talk is generally seen as a polite way to begin a conversation, but it's not typically deep. It's about creating a friendly atmosphere and showing that you're acknowledging the other person. It can be a bit more formal, and people tend to keep a certain level of emotional distance until they feel comfortable with each other. British small talk often avoids very personal topics unless there's already an established relationship. For example, while discussing work or family is acceptable, discussing more intimate aspects of one's life, such as personal struggles or finances, might be considered too forward unless you know the person well. 4. Small talk in Japan. In Japan, small talk is often seen as a way to build social harmony rather than a tool for making personal connections. Japanese people tend to value politeness, respect, and maintaining a certain level of formality, especially when speaking with someone they don't know well. While it's not unusual to engage in small talk, topics are generally limited to more neutral subjects, like the weather or daily activities. For example, a typical small talk exchange in Japan might go like this. Good morning. How are you today? I'm doing well, thank you. It's a little chilly this morning, isn't it? Yes, it's a bit cold. I hope it warms up later. In Japan, there's an emphasis on being polite, and small talk is a way to establish this politeness. Japanese people typically avoid deep personal questions in initial conversations. Asking someone about their personal life or opinions on sensitive topics such as politics or religion might be considered impolite, especially in formal settings. Instead, small talk focuses on neutral, everyday topics to avoid discomfort. It's also important to note that in Japan, people often show respect by speaking less and listening more. Small talk can be a subtle way of observing others, and gauging the right moment to introduce a deeper conversation, rather than an attempt to create an instant connection like in Western cultures. Small talk in the Middle East. In many Middle Eastern countries, small talk is a crucial part of building relationships. However, it's often more personal than in Western cultures. In places like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt, small talk may involve questions about family, health, and personal well-being, reflecting the importance of relationships and hospitality. In these cultures, for instance, a typical conversation might sound like this. Hello. How are you today? I'm doing well, thank you. How is your family? They're all good. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. How about you? How's your family? In these cultures, small talk often serves as an important way to show genuine interest in others. It's common to ask personal questions about family, health, or other topics that would be considered private in other cultures. These questions are generally not seen as invasive, but rather as a way of showing concern and building trust. Small talk in the Middle East can be more warm and emotionally engaging, and it's considered polite to spend time getting to know someone before moving on to business or more formal matters. However, while small talk can be personal, it's still important to respect boundaries and avoid overly sensitive topics like politics or religion, unless you have a close relationship with the person. Also, in professional settings, it's important to remember that small talk should still serve as a way to establish rapport and show respect, rather than to dominate the conversation. Small talk in Latin America. In many Latin American countries, small talk plays a central role in social life. People often use small talk to establish personal connections, build trust, and create a friendly atmosphere. It's common for people to greet each other warmly, ask about their families, and share personal stories in casual conversations. A typical conversation in Mexico or Argentina might sound like this. Hi, how are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. How about you? How's your family? Everyone is doing great. Thanks for asking. How's work going? In Latin American cultures, small talk is often more expressive, and it's not uncommon for people to share a little more personal information than they would in other cultures. Family is an important topic of conversation, and people are generally open to asking and answering questions about their loved ones. Small talk is also a way to show warmth and hospitality, which are highly valued in these cultures. In professional settings, it's common to engage in small talk before getting down to business. This is seen as a way to build rapport and trust, and it's important to take the time to get to know the person before diving into more serious topics. 7. How to adapt your small talk for different cultures. Understanding the cultural context of small talk is crucial for engaging successfully with people from different backgrounds. Here are some tips on how to adapt your small talk. Be aware of local topics. Research the types of topics that are appropriate for small talk in different cultures. For example, talking about the weather is common in many places, but in some cultures, it might be more appropriate to discuss food, family, or work. Respect boundaries. Some cultures value personal privacy more than others. Always be mindful of the types of questions you ask and avoid pushing too far into personal territory unless the person seems comfortable with it. Understand the pace. In some cultures, small talk is fast-paced, with lots of back and forth. Other cultures, it may be slower and more deliberate. Adjust your style to match the other person's pace to ensure the conversation feels natural. Don't interrupt. In many cultures, interrupting the other person is seen as rude. Always wait for the other person to finish speaking before jumping in. Conclusion: small talk may seem like a simple social skill, but it plays a powerful role in how we connect with others, especially across cultures. By understanding the cultural differences in how small talk is used, you can navigate conversations more effectively and build stronger relationships. Whether you're chatting about the weather in the U.S., asking about family in the Middle East, or discussing food in Japan, small talk helps bridge the gap between people from different walks of life. The more aware you are of cultural nuances, the more confident and comfortable you will feel engaging in small talk wherever you go. Chapter 9: Becoming more natural in conversations. As you continue practicing your English and engaging in more conversations, the ultimate goal is to sound natural. Whether you're talking to a colleague, a new acquaintance, or even a stranger, the way you speak can make a big difference in how comfortable and confident you feel. But what does it mean to sound natural in a conversation, and how can you achieve that? In this chapter, we'll dive into specific strategies and tips to help you speak more naturally, improve your fluency, and make your conversations feel more effortless. Embrace casual phrasing and contractions. In formal language learning, you often hear the full, correct versions of sentences. For example, you might learn to say, "I am going to the store," or "I have been working on this project." However, in everyday conversations, native speakers use contractions and informal phrasing to make their speech sound more natural and fluid. To speak more naturally, start incorporating contractions into your speech. Instead of saying, "I am," say, "I'm." Instead of "I have," say, "I've." Here are a few examples of common contractions: you are, you're, they are, they're, we have, we've, I would, I'd. For instance, a natural exchange might go like this: "I'm so tired today. How about you?" "I've been working nonstop all week. I can't wait for the weekend." Contractions aren't just about grammar. They're about matching the rhythm of natural speech. People don't usually speak in full, stiff sentences. In casual settings, incorporating contractions will help make your English sound more relaxed, just like it would for a native speaker. Use fillers and hesitation devices. Native speakers often use filler words in casual conversations. These are words or sounds that don't necessarily add meaning, but help make speech flow more smoothly. Examples of fillers include, well, like, you know, I mean. In casual conversations, these fillers are used to buy time while you think of what to say next. and they also help you sound more natural. For example, if you're talking about a movie, you might say, "Well, I really liked the movie, but, I think the ending could have been better. I mean, the acting was great, but the plot was a little confusing." Fillers are a natural part of how people speak in real life, and using them will make you sound more comfortable in your speech. However, don't overuse them, as it can make your speech sound too hesitant. Just sprinkle them in occasionally to give your conversation a more fluid, real-life vibe. Pay attention to intonation and rhythm. Intonation refers to the rise and fall of your voice when speaking. It plays a crucial role in making your speech sound natural and engaging. In English, the pitch of your voice can change to express different emotions, questions, or intentions. For example, when asking a question, your intonation often rises at the end of the sentence. "Is this your first time here?" The voice rises at the end. When making a statement, the intonation usually falls at the end. "I'm going to the park later." The voice falls at the end. To sound more natural, try to pay attention to your intonation and mimic the way native EO speakers use it. This can make your speech sound more engaging, and it will help you express emotions and intentions more clearly. Rhythm is another important element of natural speech. Native speakers tend to use a natural flow of words with pauses and stresses on certain words. For example, "I can't believe this is happening. It's so exciting, isn't it?" These short pauses and stresses on particular words are what give English its natural rhythm. As you practice speaking, focus on where you place emphasis in your sentences. Don't rush your words. Take your time to speak at a comfortable pace. This will help you sound more fluid and confident. Avoid overthinking grammar. One of the most common obstacles to sounding natural in a conversation is overthinking grammar. It's easy to get caught up in the rules of language and worry about making a mistake. But when speaking naturally, native speakers often don't focus on grammar as much as they do on getting their message across. While it's still important to use correct grammar, don't let it stop you from speaking. If you're thinking about each word you say or worrying too much about grammar, it will interrupt the flow of the conversation. Instead, focus on expressing your ideas, and if you make a mistake, simply continue without dwelling on it. Most people won't notice small errors, and they're unlikely to affect the overall understanding of what you're saying. For example, if you accidentally say, "I'm very interested in that movie," instead of, "I'm very interested in that movie," don't stop and correct yourself. Just keep going with your point, and the person you're talking to will understand. Remember, communication is the goal, not perfection. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. The more you focus on speaking and engaging with others, the more confident and natural you'll sound. Use idioms and expressions. In-die. Any language, idiomatic expressions, and slang are a big part of everyday conversation. These expressions are often unique to a culture and can make your speech sound more fluent and native-like. While it's not necessary to use idioms constantly, learning a few common ones can help you sound more natural and engaging in conversation. Here are a few examples of English idioms and expressions. Break the ice. To start a conversation and ease tension. Hit the nail on the head. To be exactly right about something. A piece of cake. Something that is very easy. Under the weather. To feel sick. For example, you could say, starting this conversation was a bit awkward at first, but I think we finally broke the ice. That explanation was spot on. You really hit the nail on the head. Using idioms like this makes your English sound more natural, as it reflects the way native speakers converse in casual situations. Learn to pause and reflect. Pausing during a conversation doesn't mean you're unsure or nervous. It's actually a powerful tool for making your speech sound more natural. In real conversations, people don't speak nonstop. They take pauses to gather their thoughts, reflect on what the other person said, or just allow space for the conversation to breathe. For example, after someone shares their opinion, you might pause for a second and then say, that's interesting. I never thought about it that way. The pause allows you time to reflect on their words and respond thoughtfully. It's a sign of active listening, and it gives the conversation a more relaxed, genuine feel. When you pause, it also gives the other person a chance to chime in or share their thoughts, which makes the conversation more dynamic. It's important not to rush through sentences. Pauses are a natural part of communication, so don't be afraid to use them. Use nonverbal communication. Nonverbal cues, such as body language, facial expressions, and gestures, play a huge role in how natural your conversations sound. Native speakers often use body language to emphasize a point or convey emotion, and incorporating these cues can make your speech feel more alive. For example, if you're excited about something, raise your eyebrows and smile while speaking. If something is confusing or surprising, use hand gestures or widen your eyes. If you agree with someone, nod your head while saying, "Yeah, I totally agree." These nonverbal cues enhance your speech and help convey your feelings, which adds to the natural flow of the conversation. People will feel more connected to you because you're not just speaking with words. You're engaging them with your entire presence. Practice conversational English in real situations. The best way to become more natural in conversations is to practice as much as possible in real-life situations. This can be with friends, family, coworkers, or even strangers. You can also engage in language exchanges or practice with a tutor. But the key is to put your skills to the test in authentic scenarios. If you're feeling nervous or unsure, start small. Practice small talk in everyday situations, like when you're in a cafe, on the bus, or at a store. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Each conversation is a learning opportunity that will help you improve. The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. And soon you'll find that speaking English feels as natural as speaking your native language. Don't be afraid of silence. It's common to feel pressure to fill every moment of silence in a conversation. But pauses are a natural part of speech. Silence doesn't mean the conversation is failing. It's simply a break where both speakers are reflecting, thinking, or processing the information. Don't be afraid of the quiet moments. Sometimes, silence is just a sign that the conversation is evolving or that the other person is thinking of their response. If you find yourself in a moment of silence, don't rush to fill it. Take a deep breath and wait for the other person to continue. This will make you sound more relaxed and in control of the conversation. Conclusion: becoming more natural in conversations takes time, practice, and patience. By focusing on using contractions, adding fillers, paying attention to intonation and rhythm, and practicing nonverbal communication, you'll start to sound more fluent and confident. Most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep engaging in real-life conversations. The more you practice, the more natural your conversations will become, and you'll find that speaking English feels like second nature. So, embrace the process, keep practicing, and enjoy the journey toward speaking English with ease. Chapter 10: Building Meaningful Relationships. Small talk and casual conversations are powerful tools for connecting with others. But to build lasting, meaningful relationships, you need to move beyond surface-level interactions. It's about creating deeper connections where trust, understanding, and mutual respect are at the core. In this chapter, we'll explore the key elements of building meaningful relationships through conversation and how you can apply these strategies to cultivate strong, lasting bonds with those around you. The foundation of meaningful relationships. Before diving into the specifics of conversation, it's important to understand what makes a relationship meaningful. At its core, a meaningful relationship is built on trust empathy, and shared experiences. These qualities help deepen your connections with others and turn simple acquaintances into close friends, colleagues into trusted allies, and casual conversations into significant exchanges. When you start talking to someone, you are laying the foundation of a potential relationship. The key to moving beyond small talk and into a meaningful relationship is to show genuine interest in the other person, listen actively, and be vulnerable. As we develop rapport with others, we're not just exchanging information, we're engaging emotionally and mentally, sharing our experiences, our values, and our desires. Building this deeper connection is what makes relationships more enriching and impactful. Engage in active listening. One of the most important skills in building meaningful relationships is active listening. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding, reflecting, and engaging with what the other person is saying. When you actively listen, you show the other person that their thoughts, feelings, and experiences matter to you. Active listening involves focusing on the speaker. Put away distractions, such as your phone or computer, and give the person your full attention. Nonverbal cues, nodding, maintaining eye contact, and using facial expressions to convey interest and understanding. Reflecting back, summarizing or paraphrasing what they've said to show that you're truly processing the information. For example, it sounds like you had a tough day at work. What happened? Asking clarifying questions. If something is unclear, ask thoughtful questions to understand better. For example, can you tell me more about how that made you feel? By listening actively, you not only help the other person feel heard and valued, but you also create a space where both of you can learn more about each other. This mutual understanding is essential for forming meaningful bonds. Show empathy. And compassion. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's one of the most powerful tools for building deep connections. When someone shares their emotions or challenges with you, showing empathy helps them feel validated and supported. Empathy is more than just listening. It involves connecting with the other person's emotions and responding in a way that demonstrates you understand their experience. This might mean expressing sympathy or simply offering a supportive comment. For example, if someone is talking about a difficult experience, you might say, "That sounds really challenging. I can't imagine how tough that must have been." Understand how you feel. It must have been frustrating to go through that. Empathy helps you connect on an emotional level, which is essential for creating a deeper, more meaningful relationship. People are more likely to open up to you and share their thoughts and feelings when they feel that you truly understand them. Be vulnerable and open. Building a meaningful relationship is a two-way street. Just as you listen and empathize with others, it's also important to be open and vulnerable. Vulnerability means sharing your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences, especially the parts of yourself that aren't always easy to talk about. It's about being authentic and letting others see who you truly are. Being vulnerable can be scary because it requires a level of trust. However, it's one of the most powerful ways to create deep connections. When you open up about your own life, struggles, or dreams, you invite others to do the same. For example, you might say, "I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately with work. It's been hard to balance everything. I've been thinking a lot about my goals for the future. What do you think about topic?" When you share your vulnerabilities, it allows the other person to see your human side. This fosters a sense of trust and makes the relationship feel more authentic. People are often drawn to others who are open and real, and this transparency helps to create stronger emotional connections. 5. Be supportive and reliable. Another key component of building meaningful relationships is being supportive and reliable. Trust is built over time, and one of the easiest ways to establish trust is by showing that you can be counted on. This means being there for people when they need help, offering encouragement when they face challenges, and showing up for them in both good times and bad. For example, if a friend is going through a difficult time, being supportive might mean offering to listen, helping them solve a problem, or simply spending time together. Reliability can also be as simple as following through on promises. If you say you'll call, text, or meet up, make sure you do. Small acts of support and consistency are the building blocks of lasting relationships. When you are reliable, others feel safe in the relationship. They know they can depend on you, which helps deepen the bond you share. Being supportive isn't just about big gestures. It's about showing that you care, being dependable, and offering encouragement when it matters most. Celebrate shared experiences. One of the most powerful ways to bond with others is by sharing experiences. When you go through something together, whether it's an exciting event, a difficult challenge, or even just a simple activity, you create memories that strengthen your relationship. For example, you might say, "I remember when we went on that road trip. It was so much fun. I still laugh when I think about that crazy thing we did." I really enjoyed that class we took together. We should do something like that again sometime. Shared experiences give you something to talk about, reminisce over, and laugh about together. These experiences create a sense of unity and connection that can last for years. They provide a foundation for the relationship to grow and deepen over time. Respect differences and appreciate diversity. Meaningful relationships are not about creating clones of yourself. They're about understanding and appreciating the differences between you and the other person. Whether it's cultural differences, different values, or varying life experiences, embracing diversity enriches the relationship and adds depth to your conversations. It's important to approach differences with respect and curiosity, instead of judging or making assumptions. Ask questions and seek to understand the other person's perspective. For example, "I've never experienced that before. What's it like?" That's a really interesting perspective. Can you tell me more about why you think that? By respecting differences, you create a space for the other person to be themselves. This allows the relationship to be more inclusive and respectful, ultimately leading to stronger and more meaningful connections. Set healthy boundaries. Building meaningful relationships doesn't mean being available all the time or giving up your own needs for the sake of others. Setting healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining balance in any relationship. It's important to communicate what you're comfortable with and to respect the boundaries of others as well. For example, if you need some time to yourself after a busy week, it's okay to say, "I'd love to hang out, but I really need some quiet time this weekend to recharge." Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're being selfish. It means you're being honest about your needs and respecting the needs of others. Healthy boundaries ensure that the relationship remains balanced and both parties feel valued and respected. It's a key component of maintaining meaningful relationships over the long term. Nurture the relationship over time. Meaningful relationships don't develop overnight. They require ongoing effort, attention, and care. It's important to check in with the people you care about, celebrate their successes, and support them through challenges. Regular communication and gestures of kindness go a long way in showing that you're invested in the relationship. For example, you could send a text or make a call just to check in. "Hey, how's your week going?" Send a message of encouragement. "I know you've got a big presentation coming up. Good luck. I know you'll do great." Offer to help out with something. "I'm free this weekend if you need help with anything." Nurturing a relationship requires consistency. It's not just about grand gestures or big moments. It's about showing care regularly and being present for the other person over time. Conclusion. Building meaningful relationships through conversation is a rewarding and fulfilling process. It requires empathy, openness, trust, and respect. By actively listening, being vulnerable, showing support, celebrating shared experiences, and nurturing the connection, you can build relationships that go beyond surface-level interactions. Remember, meaningful relationships take time and effort, but the reward is a deeper connection that enriches your life in ways small talk alone never could. By embracing these strategies, you'll not only strengthen your existing relationships, but also open yourself up to forming new, meaningful connections. As you continue practicing and applying these skills, you'll find that your conversations become more enriching and your relationships more profound. So, go ahead, start building those meaningful connections and enjoy the deep, lasting bonds that come from truly understanding and supporting one another. Great work today! Every moment you spend practicing brings you closer to mastering your English listening and speaking skills. Remember, progress comes with patience and consistency. If this story inspired you or helped you in your learning journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Easy English Spark channel for more lessons and stories. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in your growth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep shining.